I want to thank everyone for coming to this meeting of Brooklyn Community Board 9. This is our last meeting for the year 2025-26. Madam Secretary, please note the time, 6:40 p.m. One more time for the last time. My name is Fred Baptiste. I currently serve as chair of the board. I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. We have a very tight agenda, so I apologize in advance. It's going to be very quickly. It's going to be very quick. Again, I just ask everyone, if you have comments, please make sure we're concise. We want to make sure that we're able to accomplish the agenda. We want to make sure we're able to respect the space and get out in a timely fashion. So thank you very much for coming. We are now in item 2. We're going to waive the rules of conduct for this evening. They are available on the CB9 website. And very shortly, the only thing we want to do is just reiterate, we want to make sure we have respectful conversations. Part of that means when somebody disagrees, we have to let that disagreement stand. If appropriate, you can debate it, but we want to make sure that we are respecting people. We are arguing. We are going to arguments. We are not arguing against people. Okay. Additionally, I also want to make sure that if you are coming up for public commentary, please make sure you are going to the 3-minute rule. You will get a notice in terms of just before your time expires. All right, and with that, we are now going to go on to item 3, presentations. Okay, first presentation, and I just want to note for the record, there are 2 presentations we have before we get to the SLA applications. We are going to have an item B, which will be the zoning framework, which we discussed at the last board meeting, which will be voted on this evening. The chair for land use will come up and just give a very brief summary regarding that. At this time, I'm going to call on the chair of the Transportation Committee to discuss the pedestrian framework and the bus and pedestrian framework. Thank
you. All right. Good evening, folks. I'm Ethan Norville, currently the chair of the committee, and we've been taking a few months to look into the bus redesign for Brooklyn that MTA had brought a few years ago. We wanted to get ahead of the next version of that for when it comes out, and make a set of standards for it so that whenever the next bus redesign is released, okay. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, you want to make sure that the next bus redesign, when it's released, is in a better position to be accepted and to be helpful to the community compared to the last one. After a few months of examinations, we came up with a set of 7 criteria that should ideally help form a better bus redesign the next time around from the MTA. In summary, the 7 criteria are optimizing the design of the bus network so that it reduces overall passenger journey times instead of just taking into consideration bus speeds. What this would do is help the MTA consider waiting times so that when people have to transfer from bus to bus, that is also part of the consideration, because in the last bus redesign, there were a lot of issues where people would have to sort of take 2 buses or 3 buses as opposed to currently trips that would have been 1 or 2 buses. And the focus seemed to have been solely on making the individual buses move faster as opposed to actually coming up with shorter overall travel time for people who are on those buses. So we want the MTA to consider that more as opposed to just the singular bus speeds on the street. The second standard is improving passenger environments, which would mean adding bus sheds to certain bus stops that currently don't have them, so that if they were to remove a bus stop that has a bus shed and replace it with a new one, it wouldn't just be a sign and essentially leave people to get rained on or, exposed to the elements in that way. We also wanted to enable more east-west travel throughout the district. For example, one of the buses proposed in the last bus redesign was the B10, which would run from the west side, which is near Ocean Avenue, that sort of Prospect Park BQ stop terminal, and it would go east towards Broadway Junction, which is currently not possible. That's a fair move. A lot of people expressed good reactions to that, and currently we don't have enough of that. The problem is that in their previous redesign, that bus would only run on weekdays from about 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. That isn't enough, especially when people here do want to go east from this district, and there's currently very few ways to do that. So we want that to be more possible. The fourth standard would be enhancing frequency of existing bus routes on nights and weekends. So a lot of the routes in this district sort of have much less reliable cadences and times when night comes and on weekends. So we want the MTA to continue to add resources so that people are able to travel on buses on nights and weekends, because that being subpar is not going to make a world-class bus system for this district. We also want them to optimize bus to subway connection, which really just means we prefer the MTA to essentially build a system where we have more connections to the subway instead of just to other buses. In the previous redesign, there were a lot of bus lines that were cut in half or that were built in a certain way that they drop you off and they terminate, and your only option is another bus. And we want the MTA to instead deviate from that and actually take people to other also useful modes of transit that usually would look like a subway or a subway station hub. The sixth principle we're looking at is spacing bus stations less than 1,200 feet apart and preferably less than 1,000 feet apart. In the bus redesign, they had removed many bus stops that were, currently maybe not the most used, but they were still appreciated by people. And since buses don't have to stop at every single stop, we figured that there's no need to remove as many bus stops as the MTA did, especially in certain areas in this district where we have certain blocks that have more, senior residents than others. And we want the MTA to essentially adhere to a more helpful standard regarding bus stop spacing, so they're not just far apart, essentially forcing people to walk, a third of a mile just to get to the nearest bus stop. We know that the MTA might have certain preferences or certain situations where they might want to space buses about a little bit further, maybe like around Kings County or places where there are multiple buses in a certain area. They might have some certain reasons for spacing bus stops a little bit further, and we understand that, but we also don't want the MTA to just space them massively far apart for minimal reasons. So we want to have a standard max bus stop spacing so that people can expect to have a bus stop reasonably near them. And the last principle would mainly be a consultation expectation between the MTA, DOT, and this board on when a bus stop is removed about what happens to that space afterwards. Is that a parking spot brought back? Is that space after the bus stop to be, curb space? We want to essentially be more part of that conversation regarding what happens when a bus stop does ultimately get removed. So these 7 standards would generally help people have a better idea of where their bus stops can be near them. It would sort of walking time to their nearest bus stop. It would help people travel in more directions across the district, and ultimately, it would help the MTA make better decisions about what happens when a bus stop is actually taken away from people and what they get in return. I'll take questions really quick, so if anyone has any immediate questions popping up, I'm happy to answer those.
All right. If I could ask you, board members, because we will be doing this. Yeah, if we take the question, we can take resident members first. As a board member, we can take you in the business session. Are there any resident members who have any questions at this time? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. The item was presented last month as well by the committee, and it's been reintroduced for this month, and we're going to be voting on that in the business session. When we get there, we'll entertain questions from with regards to the proposal. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, we are considering this evening. This is a to the framework. At this time, I can ask for the chair of the committee to come forward, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, so if you could turn to the third to last page in your packets, we have 2 paragraphs that we're adding to the zoning framework. The first is regarding fair share. This has been a subject that's come up a lot lately with respect to, for example, homeless shelters or supportive housing, but also other types of facilities, whether it might be um, like waste transfer or good things that we want, like parks and libraries. Um, so we'd like to make sure that when the city looks at fair share in our district, that we're including not only city facilities, but also, which is what the city law requires, but also state and federal facilities. Because our residents' quality of life doesn't depend on what level of government these facilities come from. It depends on whether they're there and what resources and accommodations are given to us. So the second paragraph has to do with environmental review. When new developments happen, environmental reviews are required by law under certain circumstances, usually if the projects are large enough, in order to tell us what resources we need to handle those added residents or the effect of these developments on the environment. But we very often don't get these environmental reviews because they're not pursuant to zoning changes or because they're not big enough. But in aggregate, when we add all of these smaller developments, we have a lot of development. We have a lot of development that's happened without zoning changes. And so we don't get the environmental reviews that tell us what resources our district needs and deserves. So what we're asking is that environmental reviews should be comprehensive and they should be based on whenever an additional 300 units are added in a particular area, regardless of whether those 300 units comes from one development, many developments, whether or not it was pursuant to a zoning change. Any questions?
Okay, we'll take the speakers list. How many people have questions? Actually, take up to two because we have time constraint. Ms. Boyd, I do see you. Anybody else have, any resident members have a question? Okay, Ms. Boyd will take you and then we'll do that. And just as a reminder, please make sure that we're concise.
As you guys might already know, we've already filed a lawsuit against the city for not completing their fair share analysis when it came to deciding where the shelter was. The problem with the fair share analysis is that you're supposed to take it into consideration before you make the decision. So the fair share analysis basically says, I'm going to look at where I'm putting the facility. I'm going to look at what other facilities are around. I'm going to look at what type of environmental impact it's going to have on the community. But what the city does is the city makes a decision to put the facility in our neighborhood and then does the fair share analysis afterwards. So it defeats the purpose. So I understand that you want to add more language to it, but until it becomes effectively implemented, it doesn't matter what you say in the fair share because they're just going to ignore it until they have to do it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So for those two frameworks, those are going to be considered this evening. And just for context, the frameworks are available on the CV9 website. We do have a transportation framework currently, right? And there is also a land use framework that is available. This is to ensure that there's one, transparency in terms of how the board is operating, and two, to make sure there's consistency in terms of how we're making decisions. That's very important, especially as we are advisory. We want to make sure that we are very clear what principles we're operating on as a board. So again, we'll be voting on those two two additions to the frameworks. At this time, we're going to now go to item 4. These are applications to the New York State Liquor Authority. Applicants came before the Public Safety Committee, and we are going to be voting on them this evening. We've already provided our recommendations to the executive. We voted for them to go to full board. So at this time, we would just ask, at this time, we have a representative from Plush BK Hospitality. This applicant is located on 252 Empire Boulevard on the corner of Rogers Avenue. And this is for what we call a full license, which is a new liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. At this time, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alshon Smith, This is my godmother, Deborah Middleton. We're co-owners of Plush BK. Plush BK is going to be a Mediterranean and Caribbean fusion restaurant lounge where we'll be selling a multitude of different dishes with a fusion between the two cultures. We also are going to have live music as well as just a place for you to come enjoy yourself, a nice place in the community. We were made aware that the location occupies this community. So it's a pleasure to be in a place that's well known and recognized. And we just want to bring a different flair, a different type of cuisine. It's a good place for everyone to come enjoy themselves in the Crown House community.
Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing us to come and speak. Also, we just want to let you know that we're all professionals. We all have full-time day jobs. I'm a director of social service, who's director of safety. Management team is director of operations and security. So, we just want to know that it's, like I said, a place where you get off of work and come have a nice meal and relax and come home. So thank you for allowing us.
Thank you very much for coming. At this time, we can take, if there are any questions from residents, we can take up to 2 questions. Hold on. Ms. Boyd, we will see you. Are there any other questions from residents? Seeing none, we'll close on you, Ms. Boyd. In the business session, board members will be able to ask questions.
Just some basic questions. I don't know why I have to keep asking these questions, but what is the liquor license time frame? When are they planning on serving alcohol? Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends? When is the dancing supposed to happen, or the live music? What time of the, can we just not have to ask those questions and they just be a part of the presentation?
Sure, I'll elaborate on that.
No, I'm just talking to Fred so that you guys know.
And I'll
the
holler right
types of
back at
questions.
you. The recommendations are actually part of the minutes in the public safety report. I will give that after I'm allowing for the public to ask questions, and I will give the recommendation, which we consider proceeding in the public session. I'll read it. So the recommendation that we will be considering this evening, is for CB9 to send a letter of no objection for Plush BK Hospitality at the address I gave before, with agreed upon stipulation with applicant to close no later than midnight on Mondays through Thursdays, 1 a.m. on Fridays, 1 a.m. on Saturday. I'm sorry, 2. I'm sorry, I think that's a typo. No. What I'm saying, stipulation, understanding what is on the application. And let's get this clear right now. The applicants will come with their proposed times. That is their right, that is fair. What happens at the public safety meeting is that's where we actually have a conversation with them in terms of what the appropriate times are. So what we are voting on this evening are the times that we were able to agree on with the applicant in terms of what the appropriate hours are, in terms of when they're gonna close. So 12 midnight, Mondays through Thursdays. Is it 2 a.m. on Fridays? I have a typo in there, my apologies. 2 a.m. on Fridays. Right. Right. So okay. Right. So what I'm giving are the closing hours. So they are done by this time. So last call obviously will happen before that. So let me read it again. Midnight on Mondays through Thursdays, 2 a.m. on Fridays, 1 a.m. on Sundays. So that is when they are closing. That's when they are closing, with the understanding that obviously last call will be prior to that. Saturday and Saturday. Yeah. Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday. Correct. 1 a.m. Yes. Well, it is a question, and I'll close on this because we do need to move on the agenda. Obviously, one of the aims that we're trying to do is make sure that businesses, because, so let me finish this. I'll try. Is that any better? One of the things, there's a number of items that we try to balance when we consider the applications. Per state law, the establishments can stay open until 4 a.m. But we also are balancing community concerns as well in terms of we understand there are residential parts of the neighborhood. We do have families. We do have people who work certain hours as well. But it has to be a balancing act. So they requested a later time. We were able to say, you know what, on Sundays, that allows for that, so that way they can do that as well. We do need to make sure that we are working in partnership so that way businesses can survive and thrive in the district. So that is the conversation we had, and that was the compromise we were supposed to do. All right, thank you very much. All right, so you are more than welcome to stay. We're going to be considering, actually, I could ask if you could stay. It would be helpful because if there are questions from board members, you might be able to answer them. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we're going to be seeing the second. At this time, we are going to go to Bean Stable LLC, doing business as Wilkie, located at 820 Franklin Avenue, corner of Union Street. This is for a new full license, which is liquor, wine, beer, and cider. You have the applicant?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Ian Phillips. Can everyone hear me? Is that good? Okay, great. I'm Ian Phillips. This is my girlfriend, Kim Shaw. And we are opening a place called Wilkie, which is named, it's a family name. So it's named after my uncle, we told the Public Safety Committee was kind of a curmudgeon, kind of a grump, but was a neighborhood fixture in his town of Claremont. Also liked a good drink, also liked good food. So we are opening a place on the corner of Union and Franklin. That's 1 block south of Eastern Parkway. This is not what the place looks like right now. It is a little more rundown looking than this. It was a great neighborhood restaurant and bar called Franklin 820 for 10 years. It definitely has seen some better days. I've been working out there the past couple days, and needs some work. We propose doing not a full reno. It is still a functional place, has a full functional kitchen. We could open tomorrow, but we're just going to pretty up a little bit. So we're going to add some nice plants. We're going to do hopefully a sidewalk cafe if we can get the DOT regulations or a permit for that. And generally what we're trying to do is make a neighborhood haunt, a neighborhood gathering place, a place where you can come watch a game. You can come do a community meeting. In fact, we're going to have the Union Strong Block Association, which is on Union between Franklin and Classen. They're going to start having their meetings there because they don't have a meeting space. There was a running club. There was a cycling club that all use this as their hub, as their base of operations. So we are proposing, and I'm just going to give a brief rundown on what we're generally going to do functionally service-wise. I know it's in the minute. We're going to do a full cocktail, beer, and wine menu. My background is in service. I've worked in bars for 20 plus years. So has Kim. We're going to do a very lovely, profound program, but it is going to be cheap and cheerful. We're going to have great frozen drinks. We're going to have great wines on tap. We are going to do beers and shots for very cheap, very lovely prices. And generally, we're going to do a elevated bar food menu. I know this is not big enough so you can all see it, but it should be in your packet as well. We're going to do small bites. We're going to do full meals. We are going to have sides, and we're going to have a late night menu. So our kitchen will run. Right now, the idea is from 4 to 11 during the week, 12 p.m. start on Saturday and Sunday till 11 or later on the weekend for food. And then we're going to do late night bites. We'll have things like marinade olives. We'll have things like patties from my favorite place, Trinidad Golden Place, that we can heat up for late night bites. And we'll do a vegetarian and a meat option for that, as well as an adult lunchable, like a little meat and cheese charcuterie plate that is prepackaged and ready to go. We initially had a conversation about looking at 2 a.m. during the week and 4 a.m. on the weekends. We got good feedback from the Public Safety Committee that they're generally looking at not doing anything past 4. So we would like to propose having an outside hours. You know, we would have a license until 2 a.m. We would do actual service till 1 a.m. during the week, 2 a.m. potentially on the weekends. We live a couple blocks away, and I don't want to be going home any later than that. So we're on Sterling and Franklin, and I'll be there every day, so will Kim. So we don't want to spend any more time at the bar than that. That's pretty much it. A couple things that the Public Safety Committee brought up that we wanted to address. We know this is sometimes a bedroom community, right? A lot of people commute into the city, then come back. There are regulars at my bar in Houston, 20 plus people who live in our neighborhood who are looking for a spot to hang out at. We would also like to have it be a place where service workers, after they're done, all the lovely people who make your food and beverage all afternoon, all evening, can go for their late night drink or bite before they go to bed. And generally, as I said, we want to be a community gathering place. And that is the whole thrust of what we're doing here. And that's us.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I will read the recommendation for the committee, and then we can take a couple of questions from the public. We are going to, okay, all right. I'm going to read the recommendation from the committee, and then we will allow for a couple of questions from the public. So the recommendation was for CB9 to send a letter of no objection for Bean Stable LLC doing business as Wilkie, located at 820 Franklin Avenue, for the full liquor wine and beer license, with stipulation for the applicant to close no later than midnight on Mondays through Thursdays, 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and 1 a.m. on Sundays. So that was the recommendation of the committee. Understand, we just heard from the applicant, they are looking to do something different. That'll be a discussion that the board will entertain when we get to the business. Okay, so again, so the applicant has alternative hours they would like to propose. That will be considered.
2 a.m. across the board.
Okay, Paul. That will be discussed during the business session. The committee made its recommendation. When we consider it, we can consider if there are amendments or if it's appropriate or how we're going to vote on that. That will happen during the business session. I could ask you to stay there. We can take a couple of questions, but we need to be very quick. Ms. Boyd, I see you. Are there any other questions from the public? Seeing none, Ms. Boyd, go ahead.
Are you familiar with this community? Because that particular block and that particular area has a notorious record of having a lot of issues. I'm not sure them opening up to 2 a.m. in the morning, especially during the weekday, this is a residential community, is appropriate. I understand that what you want to do is come into our neighborhood and make money, but this particular area is notorious, and we've had some serious issues on that very same block. So I'm a little confused about why you're not taking the recommendation of the committee, which is representing the community and the community's interests, and deciding to close at 1, but you insist on 2 a.m. across the board, as if there's something called like weekend and weekdays. There is something called weekends and weekdays. So why aren't we considering the community when it talks about weekdays especially?
Oh, I'd be happy to answer. So as I said, we live 3 blocks away. We're very familiar with the community. We used to frequent Franklin 820. We're regulars at C-List, the bar right across the street. The bar that was in the space beforehand was licensed till 4 a.m. And in fact, they often utilize those hours. So we're asking for something less liberal than that. And as I said, we plan to operate till 1 a.m. on the school nights, Sunday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday, we'd love the option to go until 2 a.m. Not sure if we'll even exercise that. When we initially proposed our hours to the Public Safety Committee, they told us that we needed to have our outside band of hours. We didn't realize that initially at the time, so we adjusted that. We're asking for outside hours so that we're never, if there's a great World Cup game that goes late, we're going to miss the World Cup, unfortunately, for our opening. If there's something that goes great, people are having a nice time in a responsible manner, we can go without stepping outside of the realm of law.
So you want to do outside hours of what?
Of 2 a.m. So it's 2 a.m.
You
across
want to
the
be
board.
outside
No,
on
no,
the
sorry.
sidewalk
Sorry.
at 2 a.m. in the morning?
That's a confusing way of me putting it. The sidewalk hours for any place throughout New York City, all 5 boroughs, is 12 a.m. When I'm saying outside hours, the maximum we could run is till 2 a.m., but we really probably be running till 1 and 2 on the weekends.
Again, I'm a little confused.
The odd occasion, they stay a little bit longer than the normal hours.
Okay, so they want to do something more than.
Right. They want the opportunity to do that on occasions, like, for example, the World Cup.
I disagree. I don't think
this
that
is
type
not,
of.
This is not the argument. This is what they're
I
proposing.
understand that, but I'm the community, right?
Understood.
We don't get a chance to speak during the business session. So as a community resident in this neighborhood that's lived here for 25 years, I don't know how long you've been here, but I've been here for 25 years. I think that allowing them past the 12 o'clock is not something that this community board should support. Thank you very much.
All right. So again, so we have that, so hang around, we get to the business session. Thanks. Okay, the third applicant we have for this evening is from Tea Cafe. LLC doing business as Sweet Sundays Cafe, located at 1034 Nostrand Avenue on the corner of Sterling. This is for a new liquor, wine, beer, and cider license.
Good evening, everyone. Go Knicks. My name is Debbie and this is Felix. This is my husband. We're actually celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary today. And we're happy we're celebrating with you. So we are the owners of Sweet Sundays Cafe. It is a restaurant. We are going to be operating Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Thursday through Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. There's a 2-hour service break. We are closing and last call for our bar. 11 p.m. Sorry, I'm so sorry. We are closing our bar at 10:30. It is a restaurant. There's no TVs. There's no dancing. We do have a location in another community board. It is a cafe. This one is a full-on restaurant. Am I missing anything? Okay.
All right, thank you very much. So the recommendation of the committee is for CB9 to send a letter of no objection for Petit Cafe 2, Sweet Sundays Cafe. Yeah, as stated in their application. So the recommendation was a letter of no objection.
No, we
That
cannot
is-
serve alcohol
not
at that time.
Right, and we just said they're not serving at 7 o'clock in the morning. It is a restaurant.
So we will serve alcohol for brunch on the weekends from 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and Thursday through Sunday for dinner, 6 p.m. to 10:30 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'll mention it.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right, let's come back to order. Let's come back to order. The clock is still against us.
Sorry. We failed to mention that tomorrow is our official ribbon cutting. Sorry, Saturday, the 20th. Saturday the 20th, official ribbon cutting at 1:45 p.m. But we will be doing something celebratory. We are working with the community and the precinct from 12 to 3. We'll have music, and we're giving out free food to dads from 12:45 to 1:45. 71st, sorry.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. If you're able to, when we're considering the business session, it's helpful when the applicants here if there's any questions. Thank you very much. I like that hat. We the same size? We the same size? Yeah. All right. Okay, so all of those who have presented, those are the applications that we're considering this evening. We'll be discussing it as part of the business session. All right, at this time, we are now going to move on to public commentary. Public comment is up to 30 minutes. Time is now 7:13, Madam Secretary. Just as a reminder, we would ask all speakers, please make sure you limit your remarks to the 3 minutes. First, there is a timer. Please make sure you're keeping an eye on the timer. When you see 30 seconds, please begin to conclude your remarks so that way you can end on time. And we out of respect for all the other speakers and for the board's agenda. All right, at this time, we are now going to call up Sean Hartley.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
So good evening, everyone. This is our last meeting of the session, and I think that I should have been up here much, much earlier within the session, because I think that probably a lot of things weren't covered and there wasn't a clarity and a transparency. So as you know, my name's Shania Hartley. I've been on the community board for 2 years, and in that same conjunction, I've been on public safety committee for 2 years. I've been in the neighborhood, guess my age, but no, a very long time, very, very long time, okay? I've had a couple of milestone birthdays. So within that, what I want to call out is that I've been sitting on the SLA committee, and I think that when we're here at our board meetings, I think that what ends up happening is that we come across, well, let me just only speak for myself. I'll go back and forth between myself and the committee. But I think that what comes across is that there's an aspect of being combative. And I think it's because we don't provide that transparency or that clarity in the beginning. So what I want to call out is that the SLA committee is devised, or it is composed, I'd like to say, of a very fair, diverse, and emotionally intelligent and socially active group of people, okay? I like being on this committee, and I think I'm very, very honest about what I like and what I don't like. And I like the people on the committee. And when people come up to us and when the applicants come to us, we are fair and we research, and some even go to the places. And of many of the applicants of the 2 years that I've been on the committee, and let's give or take, I did a little bit of math, it comes across at or around 70. Of those 70, we've had one that is a publicly traded large big business. The other 69, which was relatively about 98.5%, have been small businesses. I call this out because it has been noted, or it's been said, that we are anti-small business. That is very, very far from the truth. What I also want to call out is that what I've always appreciated in regards to these small businesses is that I can step foot out of my neighborhood and I can enjoy a drink or anything else that comes with it. So it's not that I'm against the aspect of it. I think it brings a great cultural component to this neighborhood and vibrancy. But what I will call out, and the reason why the committee is here, is that we are always on the aspect of seeking a balance between the business and the residents. I repeat, we are here to always seek the balance between the business and the residents. And when this neighborhood was being zoned and when this neighborhood was being planned, it was residents first, business second. But that's not to say that we're anti-business. It's just to let you know that we are creating parameters strictly about quality of life. And when we say quality of life, let me give you the 3 specifics that I like to call out. First and foremost, we no longer can smoke in restaurants anymore. So someone will come out of the restaurant, please just give me this. They come out of the restaurant, smoke a cigarette. There are a lot of old buildings in this neighborhood. Smoke a cigarette smoke goes up into the windows. People don't sign up for that. You don't sign up for crowd control. And there's a lot of those other factors. And all I'm asking is that when we vote as a board, ask us the questions. Come over to us. Ask us why did we come to that. Ask us why we're setting up those time zones. It's not because we're anti-business. It's because we want to make sure that there is a fair share for the residents. Just like we're talking about fair share about shelters, residents don't always sign up for bars and for restaurants and for a plethora on their blocks. And that's all we're here for.
At this time, call up Eve Hobby Coleman.
I just want to say, I don't know if any of you ever put your phone or something on ×2, because I have a lot to say and I have only 3 minutes. So I had to like practice 7 times. How am I saying this in all in 3 minutes? So if I sound like I'm talking very fast, I am. Okay, all right. Okay, hi. I've been part of Crown Heights for more than 50 years. When I was 8 years old, my parents opened a variety store on Kingston Avenue and serving a diverse community, Jewish, Hispanic, West Indian. Customers came not only to shop, but to talk, share stories, and support one another. Over time, they became more than customers. They became friends and an extension of our family. If someone was short on money, their parents would often tell them to take what they needed and pay later. That was the kind of community Crown Heights was and the kind of business they ran. Inspired by that example, I later opened my own small business. Those lessons about community trust and responsibility have guided me through the work in both business and public service. Given that background, I hope it's clear. I deeply value and support small business owners. When I got married, I chose to remain in Crown Heights. After my 5th child was born, my husband and I purchased our home. While both working full-time, supporting our family and paying for the mortgage. During those years, our neighbors, Joan Haynes and her husband, a couple originally from Barbados, had the key to our home. If I was delayed at work, my children would go to their home until I returned. The Haynes held that key for more than 25 years and became like family. We celebrated milestones as well as difficult times. Today, they are elderly homeowners who remain an important part of this community, alongside many long-time residents, families with children, working households who value the stability and the character of Crown Heights. That's why I believe we must balance supporting small businesses with our responsibility to the people who live here. When reviewing SLA applications, we need clear, consistent framework that's formally agreed upon, voted on, and adopted by the community and the board. That framework should include standardized closing hours, operating conditions applied uniformly to all applicants. Regardless, this framework should include standardized closing hours and operating conditions applied uniformly to all applicants, regardless of background or identity. Consistency promotes fairness, transparency. It ensures a level playing field for businesses while giving residents clear expectations. That's why the committee and board should have established a framework that's voted on, adopted, and consistently applied going forward. This past month, an applicant sought approval to remain open until 4 a.m. every night, the entire weekend. When asked to consider earlier hours, they declined, noting that another applicant had come to the board and received different hours that the safety committee had recommended. So they indicated they didn't care about our recommendation. They would come directly to this board. This raises an important question. What precedent are we setting? The Public Safety Committee volunteers a significant amount of time. They take their role seriously and their applications and community carefully. While the board has every right to decide differently, I was disappointed in the little discussion of the committee's reasoning for recommending closing hours. No questions were asked about 2 a.m. nightly operation and was viewed as inconsistent to our community's needs. The concern is not that the board reached a different conclusion. Reasonable people can disagree. Rather, it was that the time and effort and deliberation invested by the committee appeared to receive little consideration. What happens is when it happens, it's then because I did slower because of her. I would have done it. I timed it at home and it was perfect. Okay, let me just end with this. When that happens, it sends a message. Committee process does not carry real weight, and when the applicants believe that, they're less likely to engage in good faith. For the sake of fairness and trust in the process, committee recommendations should be treated as meaningful and substantive, and when the board chooses to depart from them, it should explain why the decision serves both the business owner and the community, and how those interests are being balanced.
Speaker, we have David Kupperberg.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is David Kupferberg. I'm a member of Passengers United. The goals of the MTA bus network redesigns should be close service gaps, expand service to transit deserts, and do both without negative impacts to the core network. Passengers United is a Section 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan transportation advocacy group. Our goal is to advocate for transportation issues based on what the people want, not what we think the people want. The MTA Brooklyn Bus Network Redesign Draft Plan released in December 2022 received an overwhelming negative response. In fact, none of Brooklyn's 18 community boards support the plan. We think that the MTA should delay the proposed final plan in favor of a new draft plan. At the same time, the MTA should invest 1% of New York City Transit's operating budget, or $126 million, for the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign. Let's stop balancing with the money implementation of same practices that MTA and New York City boards without consideration of the effects of their actions. There is no correlation between bus speed and passenger travel time. 1,800 bus stops were removed in Queens recently with no significant effect on bus speed. The MTA is only considering the 20 seconds saved by buses not having to accelerate and decelerate. But if stops are lightly utilized, then buses are stopping at one stop instead of another, saving no travel time. But the result for you is an increase in walking time, hence passenger travel time. This also significantly increases the chance of a misconnection. For infrequent service, a misconnection could also discourage bus usage. In fact, the only realistic benefit of the elimination of a bus stop would be the increase of number of available parking spaces, assuming that there is no fire hydrant at the bus stop. For further proof that there is no correlation between bus stop balancing, bus speed, and service reliability, one can look at Philadelphia. The average distance between bus stops within the city is 500 feet, but in the center city, it's as close as 450 feet. According to the Philadelphia Bus Network Choices Report, their bus service average speed averages less than 12 miles per hour, 40% faster than New York City. Bus speeds can be slow for many reasons. These include but are not limited to excessive double parking, blocked bus lanes, inadequate service levels causing excessive dwell time, and schedules that do not accurately affect running times. It would be irresponsible and too simplistic to conclude that a bus route with very slow speeds and close stops should have some stops removed to speed service in the absence of analyzing of the data. But the MTA keeps repeating that buses are too slow. The average bus speed in Brooklyn is 7.1 miles per hour, yet cars only average 9 to 10 miles per hour on city streets. Buses make many more stops and have to wait for passengers. It stands to reason that buses should be slightly slower than cars. Therefore, the notion that buses are too slow is a myth. In conclusion, there must be a moratorium on the elimination of bus stops until fair and unbiased borough-wide studies are complete. Go to www.passengersunited.org for our counter proposal, details on how to sign up a petition against bus stop balancing, and how to donate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll have Mike Goldfarb.
Good evening, everyone. I think almost everyone here knows who I am by now. Mike Goldfarb, Democratic candidate for Congress here in New York 9. But here tonight to talk about two specific conversations I've had frequently here in the community over the last several months. First, trash pickup and street cleanliness. So I've been speaking to a number of local cleanup crews. For folks who don't know, these are all volunteer trash pickup organizations, and several of them have expressed a willingness to share resources and share knowledge with us if we're interested in setting up additional variations of that here. I can tell you that there's a couple on Church and Cortelyou that just got set up within the last few months, wildly successful. If anyone's interested in leading or joining that sort of effort, reach out to me. I'm happy to connect with the relevant folks. And then second, I've been talking to a bunch of people concerned about developers buying up historic homes and the impact it has on the character of the community and how we balance the need for significantly more affordable housing while protecting existing neighborhoods and existing homeowners, especially in those communities of ours that have among the highest rates of black ownership anywhere in New York City. So we did a series of listening learns with other neighborhoods that have both landmark areas as well as significant new development happening. Those are finalizing shortly, and once they do, we'll kind of bring back to the community board and to local elected officials some of the lessons that were taken from there to see how we can best blend the different needs of the community in a thoughtful, constructive way. If there's anything that I've missed or anything folks want to talk about, my email, mike@mikeforbrooklyn.org, always available. You guys see me every month. Have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. All right, before I bring on the next speaker, just a notice. If you are an elected official or representative, please make sure you're signed in with the district office. That way, when we go into acknowledgments, we can call you up. It's appropriate. At this time, we will call to the floor Tony Williams. Tony Williams, are you here? Okay, we'll go to the next speaker. Okay. At this time, we're going to call up Board Member Khurshid. Cam?
Good evening, Community Board 9. I found out something this week that absolutely blew my mind. Our beloved community board member, Rod Herbert, was removed from the board. And I don't know how this happened. I would figure that somebody who's a long-standing community board member who brings valuable insights, data, and a great spirit to our board would be given due process. But he was sent a letter saying he was off. Now, I remember back in November or December, there were several community board members who had poor attendance and they were held up for a vote. They were voted off. Somebody like Mr. Herbert should have the opportunity to express his side of the story. I know he did send medical documentation to the community board stating the case. I know as a member of the Transportation Committee, he was at the majority of meetings. I saw him here at the general board several times, and I know that when he's not in attendance physically, he does watch over the internet. He's a valuable member of the Transportation Committee and the general board. He should not be voted off without due process and without given the chance to represent his side. It is something that should be held to a vote of the full board. So I want to put forward a motion that Mr. Rod Herbert is immediately reinstated to Community Board 9 based on wrongful removal. Can I get a second?
The motion is out
I
of order.
want to do it now so we don't hustle and get this thing done. Okay.
Hold on.
All right, because sometimes when we get to the business section.
You have to do it.
Okay, all right. I just want to know. He's not here tonight.
Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to go on to the next speaker, Ms. Alicia Boyd.
I always have so much to say. I think that what they talked about as far as the safety committee is very, very true. What happens is these bar owners and business owners, they talk amongst themselves. They know that if they can say no to the committee and they just come to the general board, they could get their way. They're telling each other that. They're spreading that. And so what you're seeing a lack of respect at the committee level because they said they don't have to negotiate at the committee level because all they have to do is come to the general board, talk about how they need to make money, and the general board then disregards the committee. And so this is a serious issue. And you need to sit there and be more respectful of the committees because they're the ones who take the time and energy and do all of the hard work that's necessary. So I just wanted to point out that fact. The second thing is, guys, learn Robert's Rules of Order and learn when you can put a motion on the floor. You don't put a motion on the floor during the general public meeting. You put it during the business session. And you have to do it exactly the way he did and say, I place a motion on the floor, but during the business session. And this is the problem. You guys are all new to this committee. You don't have any senior members on CB9. You don't have anyone except for Fred, and he's about to leave, that was here 10 years ago or 12 years ago when we fought against the rezoning application. Nobody knows about that. So all of your, what they call knowledge is gone. So you have so many people on this board that really don't know what to do or how to do it. And that's a serious issue. The board should be training you on Robert's Rules of Order. They should be training you when you put a motion on the floor and how you put the motion on the floor. They should be training you on how you should be respecting the committees and the committee's recommendations. But they're not. And so we always wind up having these conflicts here at the general board when they just having prior knowledge would be helpful. Finally, I'm a political activist, if you don't know. I've been involved in CB9 since 2014, and I have come to these meetings regularly on a regular basis as a community resident. I've never been on the board, but I can tell you one thing. We have fought for this community. We have filed lawsuits against the community board and against developers. And we currently have a new lawsuit against the shelter. Please think about supporting the community. When you come to these community board meetings and you have a whole room, we filled up this auditorium with over 400 people saying they did not want to have this shelter, and yet we did not get a motion put on the floor to say we don't want the shelter. Well, what was the sense of having 400 people come to you and tell you that you don't want a shelter, and the only thing we got was, oh, you didn't really do the process well. Should have been a motion put on the floor to represent the community's position, which was they don't want a shelter in this neighborhood. So I would ask, please, somebody put a motion on the floor today during the business session. You say, I place a motion on the floor, because you have to use that exact language, and say, I saw the people,
Ms.
they
Boyd, your time has
came,
expired.
please
If you
vote
could please
against,
conclude.
I'm about to end. Please vote against the shelter and ask the community board, and I ask the community board, please listen to the community, because that's what you're here for. Thank you so much, bye.
All right, at this time, we're gonna call up Cheryl Bernard.
Good night, everyone. Can y'all hear me? All right, great.
Yes.
Yesterday, they broke ground on Vital Brooklyn. So while politicians and developers stood with hard hats and ceremonial shovels, celebrating another groundbreaking, many of us stood watching with a very different feeling. We were not celebrating. We were wondering whether anyone in power has truly listened to the people who already live here. Over the past several years, our community has been asked to absorb project after project after project, and community-wide as a whole. We are watching approximately 13 new developments rise within a relatively small area. Many of these projects include shelters or supportive housing. We have respectfully raised concerns about infrastructure, parking, traffic, public safety, sanitation, school capacity, and overall quality of life for existing residents. Yet those concerns have often been dismissed or not addressed. Yesterday, Governor Hochul publicly thanked Brian Cunningham for supporting these projects. That raised an important question. Who has Brian Cunningham been representing? Has he been representing the developers who profit from these projects? Has he been representing state agencies seeking to meet housing goals? Or has he been representing the residents who elected him and have consistently voiced concerns over the over-concentration of dense development in our neighborhood? Because many of us have been attending meetings, writing letters, signed petitions, speaking out. We have asked for balanced development. We have asked for infrastructure before density. We have asked for housing that serves families, not just studios and one-bedroom units like they want to build 2 buildings on Utica Avenue. We have asked for transparency regarding shelter placements, what's going on now. We have asked for meaningful community agreement. Instead, we continue to see proposals that maximize density while minimizing community input. Now we are facing efforts to rezone additional commercial properties to residential use in order to construct even more high-density towers. Again, not family-sized housing. Again, not comprehensive plan that addresses park and transportation, schools, or community. The question is not whether housing is needed. Housing is needed across New York City. But the question is why certain communities are expected to carry a disproportionate burden while other neighborhoods are protected from the same level of concentration and density. That is a conversation our elected officials should be having with the community. So I'm calling on Assemblyman Brian Cunningham to answer directly to this community. Why community residents oppose these projects? Where was your opposition? When residents asked for balance, where was your advocacy? When residents asked for protection, where was your leadership? Recognition from governor may make good photo opportunity, but accountability comes from the people who sent you to Albany. We're not asking for favors. We're asking for representation. We're asking for transparency. We're asking for a development strategy that respects both the need of the housing and the needs of the people who already call this community home. I want to say happy Juneteenth to everyone. We are still under oppression. Juneteenth was for us to be free, but we are still under oppression. We need to recognize, we need to realize, we need to get concerned, and we need to get, I know I ought to finish, we have to get involved to what's going on. I want to say thank you to Dante, thank you to Mia, thank you to Alicia, Allison, sorry. Thank you to the board. Thank you for everyone hearing me. I know y'all are tired, but I'm not going to stop because it's real. We are being screwed upon, and we need to recognize it, and we need to fight. I would drop the mic, but I don't want to damage it.
That's city property. You gotta cover. Thank you very much. All right, that concludes the public commentary section. I want to thank all the speakers who came up and gave their advice. This is always helpful for the board in terms of as we consider. We know we always have work to do in terms of improving how do we get information and what are we doing in terms of being able to best use that to advocate and improve. So thank you very much for that. At this time, we are now going to go to the acknowledgements. Last call. Are there any elected officials or representatives who have not signed on this list? Come on down. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Hold on one second. Let me just take who's on the list, and then we'll call you right up after that. Okay. We have a representative from Assembly Member Farrell Safran Forest Office.
Hi, folks. Happy Juneteenth. My name is Isaiah Dawson. I'm the constituent liaison for Assemblymember Ferris Sufont Forest. I just wanted to re-up our organizing training and leadership training called Brooklyn Roots. So the applications close on August, and it's an organizing training that is free, being held at Bedford Library. We'll have it on 4 consecutive Saturdays starting on September 12th. We're organizing this organizing training to teach our communities more about how to organize their own communities. So food and free childcare will be provided at these trainings. If you're interested, please feel free to connect with me one-on-one after this meeting. Thanks so much and have a good night.
Thank you very much. All right. Next, we're going to call up a representative from. All right. At this time, we're going to call up a representative from Assemblymember Brian Cunningham's office.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Yes. My name is Aomi Styling. I serve as District Office Director to the Assemblymember Brian Cunningham. He brings his greetings. So on the table, I placed a lot of literature and resources, so I'm just going to go through them very quickly. So the first one is the legislative process in you. My door is always open, so we understand that there's some residents that can't just come into our office during business hours, so this is the best way to reach us, and we'll follow up with you. If you pay rent, and facts about rent stabilization and rent control for NYC residents, asthma, be aware of phone and email scams, the New York City parking calendar for 2026, the rent of the Senior Citizen Rent Increase Exemption Program, Save on Rent with SCREE, the New York State Assembly activity page, the Smoke Detectors and Save Lives brochure, the New York State Hospital Patients Bill of Rights, Know Your Rights as a Residential, Utilities and Consumer, the Elderly Pharmaceutical Insurance and Coverage Program, so EPIC, identity theft, because that's something that we're starting to see a lot happening lately, so please engage with these brochures. For our social services in our office is 10 and Thursdays. You have to call in to make an appointment. It's every single Thursday she's there. We have a social worker that is there in our office as well on Caring Wednesdays, the first and third Wednesday of each month. Starting June 24th and July 14th and ongoing, we have a National Grid advocate in our office. We have a blood drive going on Thursday, July 9th. In partnership with New York Blood Center and Downstate Hospital. 2 more, sorry, Chair, 2 more. Community Cookout in partnership with Community Board 9. Oh, it's June 27th at Prospect Park, Lefferts Historic House from 12 to 4. And lastly, our Central Brooklyn Classic basketball tournament. Just want to let you all know that our office was closed today and it will be closed tomorrow, as well as it'll be closed on July 3rd and July 6th. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, this time we'd like to call to the floor a representative from Assemblymember Monique Chandler Waterman's office. Assemblymember, did you want to? All right, no, that's not a problem. Once you get to it. All right. All right. Before we close out, I do want to acknowledge we did have one person who did sign up for public commentary. Who was not here, Ms. Williams. Did you want to speak? Ruben, keep time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for my lateness. I was looking at our mayor who was outside, Ms. Sanders. I'll make this quick. Dante, DCWP, when can we have the meeting? Storage is really important. The people feel like they are being robbed. So everywhere, every time you go to the storage place, there's an issue about fees are too high. And the people in that community cannot afford it. And they do not want to see their stuff being auctioned. So when can a hearing be? Manhattan Mini, right across on Remsen. It is robbing people blind. $51 storage. They can't pay it on the first. Jumps up to $200. It's unfair. It is unfair. The people really want to have a hearing so they can let their voices be heard. Next thing, elevators in the train stations. When can we get that going? So people who are wheelchair accessible can get back on the train. And the last thing, Utica and the Eastern Parkway. Many of them are closed down. So, Prospect Park also. And the last thing, what's going on with Omni? Omni don't work. I don't know who did it, but the Metro card was fine. I don't understand why we had to mess with that. I almost got arrested on the bus because I paid with Omni, and when they looked, it said didn't pay, and I did. I'm too cute to go central booking. So they need to fix that because that is not bulletproof. And their machines and the Omni machine, it don't sometimes line up. I don't know why they have to mess with the coin machine. Why mess with stuff that's not broken? And the stuff that is broken, we don't even look at. What's going to happen is once that Omni machine is taken away, once the coin machine is taken away, you're going to cause a lot of people not to ride the buses. And that's unfair. So that's all I have to say. Bye, Fred. Take care. Happy Father's Day on Sunday.
Thank you very much. Very quick announcement from Member Cunningham's office.
Yes, we are very aware about the Omni and why and not working. And so we have the truck coming. It's a mobile van, June 30th, my apologies, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's not, but this is something that we realized. And so I will bring this back to my team and let them know, like, this is still not working, but we understand that it is a community concern and it is a little hard for some of our residents. And so we asked for the truck.
No, very quickly, I will ask the next chair to ask the district manager to see if they can address that more directly either through the committee or directly through the district office. No, but thank you for bringing that up.
Prospect Park is supposed to come back online this month. So if you live around Prospect Park Station, the elevator is supposed to be online this month. Utica, the fall. So keep me posted if you live in those areas, especially Prospect Park. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That concludes, that concludes the public session. Again, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the elected officials and the representatives for the partnership, for the advocacy, for all the work that happens in the community. And Community Board 9 will continue in that vein. We look forward to working with you. All right, that concludes the public session. At this time, we are now going to go into the business session for the board. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Good night, everyone. Adu Makabir. Brian, all the way. Welcome. Nicholas Almadar. Fred Baptiste. Yana Gomez. Yana Gomez. David Beckerter. Solan Benjamin. Solan Benjamin. Catherine Bocello. Joanna Carr. Suki Chow. Kendall Christensen. Eve Coy. Dina Cox. Sloa Carey. Max Davison. Lisa Etienne. Adine Feder. Madame Gabois. Bishop Gonzalez. Shauna Hartley. Tim Hunter. Tim Hunter. Drew Johnson. Kalia Joseph. Kalia Joseph. Renisha Labari. Nene Legote. Excuse. Francisco Leopold. Christian LeBoy. Jacqueline Love. Andrew Magnus. Letwin Mavina. Marcia Maxwell. Vanna Mears. Rohan Minoy. Lati Muchin. Ethan Norville. Isaiah Pickle. Vanessa. Felice Robertson. Viniman Rosenberger. Miriam Segal. Miriam Segal. Melissa Savir. Joshua Thomas Serrano. Abigail Tim. Debbie Timothy. Herberto Velez. Linda Watson Lord, that's me. Dawn Welters. Teresa Westerdahl. Joyce Williams. Lorianne Wosley. 1 minute, I'll be back.
All right, are there any board members who did not hear their name called or did not respond to the roll call? Okay, as the secretary tallies up to confirm quorum, this time I would like to pause in the agenda for one moment. We do actually have Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman with us this evening, who would like to give a couple of remarks to the board. And I'll apologize in advance, we have a tight agenda, but we definitely.
Well, I should say God is good and all the time. I'm New York State Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman. I represent Assembly District 58, which is East Flatbush, parts of Canarsie, Brownsville, and this much of Crown Heights. So I have a little bit of CB9, but I always like to come and represent. I want to thank the amazing board. I heard somebody is trying to go on vacation and leave us. We ain't going to talk about that. But we appreciate you. We love you. I see you wearing your colors. Hi, Mia. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dante. I wish I should say it's Happy Father's Day for all the fathers, though, who did not even give birth. Well, you can't give birth, but help put a child in this world. you still step in the gap. And today we had a big parade for you. We all wore orange and blue. If you was there, happy Father's Day. We did that for you too. Happy Juneteenth as well. And they said Jalen couldn't do it, but he did it, and we're going to continue doing what we got to do as our people of color. Really quick, Utica Crescent is open. It's on, help me out, Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Property, right there on Utica between Winthrop and Rutland. People are getting their keys. People are moving in even today. We did a ribbon cutting yesterday. We did a little bit today as well to make sure. So people still have any questions. I want to thank Community Board 9. Thank you for your partnership with that to get that word out. Also, really quick, because I know you said I have a little bit of time. We are happy that we have passed the Survivors First Act. So this is Gun Violence Awareness Month. So my heart goes out to anyone who has a loved one was murdered due to gun violence. We passed a Survivors First Act, which means if someone died by suicide, or if someone was a police-involved shooting, or if they seem to be in a gang, Office Victim Services say you are denied, you contributed to your death, therefore you don't get the services. So we're saying that should not be. No matter how a person dies, their family members should get the support. Do you agree? We all agree. So we wrote a bill for that. Also, you do crowdfunding. You do GoFundMe, you get rejected as well. So we wrote a bill to take out that as well. It passed in Assembly and Senate. We're waiting for the governor to sign it. So I just wanted to say, because I have to wrap up really quick, that we also fought in the budget, $268 billion budget. What held up the budget was we did not want ICE to coordinate with law enforcement. The governor wanted to said only for criminal activity. We know ICE don't know what a criminal is. They don't know what a citizen is. They don't know what God is. We don't want them anywhere near us if they don't know what to do. So sensitive areas have more protections. Hospitals, schools, voting sites, houses of worship. So without judicial warrants, we put more protections in there. And the power checks, the 2024 tax return to give you relief for your utility bills. That's all I can really fit in really quickly. And I'll be here if you have any questions. New York State Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman. Make sure you vote. Vote early. June 23rd is the last day to vote. Do not be discouraged. Your voice matters. Please make sure. New York State Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you for all that you do when you go up to Albany, fighting for us. Thank you.
Chair,
Go ahead, Madam Secretary.
we do have a quorum. We have 39 members present, 11 members absent.
39 members present, we have a quorum. Thank you very much. All right, we're gonna try, okay, listen, we have a lot on the agenda. We need to go very quickly this evening. At this time, yes. All right, it's been moved and seconded for all committee reports, the DM's report to stand as written. All action items will be considered. And there is no treasurer's report for this evening. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions on readiness? Hearing none. Is there a common consent on this? Any objection? We have common consent. Please note that it's moved, it's passed. No reports this evening. We're going to go directly into orders. All right, we're going into item number 2 very quickly. We just need to do this, the adoption of the meeting minutes. The meeting minutes are sent as part of the package. Are there any corrections to be made to the minutes at this time? Yes. Okay, we'll make that text correction. Any other corrections to be made to the minutes? Any other corrections to the minutes? All right, is there any objection to adopting the minutes with said corrections? Hearing no objections, Madam Secretary, please note the minutes are adopted as with said corrections. Thank you very much. We're going to go into special orders, which are going to include the officer elections. Before we do that, though, there is one item that we are bringing to the floor. We discussed it and voted on in executive session. The one thing that the bylaws are not clear on is how many people go to the runoffs. So what we are doing this evening, we're going to vote on a rule where the top 50%, if there is no person who gets a majority vote, the top 50% of vote getters go on to the runoff. So what this is to say there were 3 people running for an office. 2 people get 50% of the vote, but they didn't get a majority. Those 2 people go to the runoff. Are we clear? The top 50% go on to the runoff. So if there were 3 people running for office, one person gets 30%, one person gets 20%, gets 25%, and somebody else gets whatever the math is, 45. Well, they're in the, so that's 45% of them. Right, exactly. If you're not in the top 50%, you're out. Okay? Right. Well, the reason why I want us to dispose of it now is because especially we have a number of contested positions. If we don't take care of that, everyone has a claim where it's like, I should be in the runoff, nobody got a majority. So the idea is we eliminate the bottom 50%. Okay? Are we clear? All right, so it was passed by the executive committee, it's coming for the board. There's no need to put it to the floor. Are there any other questions with regards to the motion for the top 50% of vote getters? Yes. Well, let me take the speakers in. So I see you, go ahead. Yes. So if you have 4 people running for an office position, only the top 2 will go to the runoff. Correct. If you have 3 people running for office position, only the top 2 will go to the runoff. Correct. Right? Yeah. I'm sorry? If no one gets a majority, if no one has a majority vote, that's when this rule kicks in. If somebody wins outright, well, the problem is it's not much more than everyone else because the bylaws say you have to have a majority vote, 50% plus the 1. So that's the reason why if it goes to a runoff, it's those top vote getters who go. Okay? All right. Okay, so with that being said, at this time, are there any other questions? Because we're going to close and we're going to call the question. Yes. Correct. It is 20, yes, correct. 20 votes wins. 20 votes is the majority, and that they are elected outright. Okay? Good. Yeah, correct. All right. With that, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. All those who wish to oppose, please state your name for the record. Please note, no one in opposition. Anyone who wishes to abstain, please state your name for the record. Madam Secretary, please note no abstentions. Motion carries. So that is going to be the rule for runoffs for this evening. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, I would like to call up the chair of the nominations committee to come and discuss the elections and begin the election process. And if I could call all the members of the nomination committee to come up as well.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Debbie Timothy, and I am the chair of the CB9 Nominations Committee for Officers. I will have the other committee members introduce themselves.
Francisco Colden-Oquia.
Teresa Westerdahl. Hi, everyone.
So we're going to get started. I will provide you with the names of the candidates for each officer position. We will start with the chairperson. Okay, so we will start with member at large. First person would be Nicholas Almana. You have 2 to 3 minutes to give us the. Okay, Nicholas Almana, Solange Benjamin, Catherine Buccello. Oh, so Catherine has removed herself. Elettrine Marima. So Nicholas. Is everyone else here? Solange Benjamin and Latrine Marima.
Good evening, CB9. Thank you for this opportunity once again. I'd like to spend some more time doing what I have been doing as a member at large. This is what the third time I'm running for this position. So if you check, my bio has not changed. I'm really happy to serve and be part of this executive committee and help move this community forward. Thank you very much.
Solange Benjamin. Is she here?
Let me answer this one very quickly. This question did come up during the executive committee, and I did check with Corp Counsel. As it's not written that somebody is disqualified if they are not present, they are still eligible to be voted on. It's the prerogative of the board. If you wish to vote for somebody or change your vote because they're not here, that's the prerogative of the individual members. But as it's not a requirement in the bylaws, they can't stand to be elected.
Latrine Marima.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Go Knicks. I have spent most of the day with a lot of the New York City community. I have been a member of this community board for about 3.5 years now. I have spent a lot of time watching. I have made some very controversial decisions. But anyway, so I have been part of the Youth Service Committee. And I have enjoyed my time there. And I've also realized that I'm one of the youngest people at 34 years old on the board, which is a problem. We did have some younger people on the board before, and they felt very intimidated. They felt that they did not have a pathway to make an impact within this community board because of a lot of the things that happen. Sorry, I'm very nervous right now. I'm not the best public speaker. But just to say, I did write notes, but I just thought I'll speak from the heart here. I love this community. I was born in Zimbabwe, but I've lived here I've lived here for quite a long time. I worked with the Boys and Girls Club here. I have, like I said, I spent a lot of the day today with young adults at the parade, hence my attire. A lot of them who just want to do so much. And I wish they were here today. But when I tell them, please come to the community board meetings, the age limit is, you guys can come, you guys can get your voice heard, and they don't come. So I just want to make sure that I continue to advocate. Sorry, guys, I'm so nervous. It's been a long day. Yes. But so anyway, so in the last couple of years and on the Youth Service Committee, we've had career affairs. And some of you, I'm so sorry, let me just get it out. A lot of you guys have supported, whether financially, assisting with resume workshops, whatever that may be. We complain a lot about the youth in this committee. We complain a lot about people not showing up, but let's get more people involved. And our last Youth Service Committee meeting, I suggested that as a member at large, I will make sure I end up going to these meetings, end up making sure I whatever issue is happening, that I am being a face. I love talking to people, although this is not the perfect representation of that. So I just hope that you guys vote for me, and anything else you need to know, let me know. My bio is also was emailed to you guys, and I promise I'm a better speaker than this.
Thank you, Member at Large. We will move on to our treasurer position, officer position. Is Mena Legute here? She's absent? Okay, thank you. Okay, fine. Also, well, Linda Watson Lord, we'll have you come up next. I know you're taking notes, but maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Then you got that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Good night, everyone. My name is Linda Watson Lord. I've been the secretary for Community Board now for about 4 terms. I enjoy doing it. I remember when I first joined the Community Board, there was a secretary, but she used to got 1 page. And I used to wonder, I'm watching, I'm attending by Mega Evers, but this is it. So when I become the secretary, I try to make sure that whatever happens at CB9 is represented in a much better space. If it's your will that I could continue, God bless you and thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We will now move on to second vice chairperson. Kendall Christensen, Felice Robertson, Abigail Tim, Dawn Welters Dumpson. So we will start with Mr. Christensen first. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Good evening. My name is Kendall Christensen. For those of you who don't know me, I've been on this board for 2 years. I usually sit in this corner in front. I've chaired the Environmental Protection Committee for the last year, was a resident member of it before that. I missed the parade today because I spent my day at the Brooklyn Navy Yard at the annual Brooklyn Energy Summit produced by the Chamber of Commerce. I've been a longtime member of the board of the Chamber, currently serve as its board secretary. It's an event that draws about 300 or 400 people. You have my bio statement with the rest of my background, but we've been residents of this neighborhood, of this board, this district since 1988, particularly in the Lefferts Manor area. And I'm glad to have this opportunity to more fully introduce myself and to get to know all of you. Thank you.
Next, we will have Felice Robertson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felice Robertson. I have my bio here. It's lengthy. I hope everyone read it. If you didn't, I can provide it to you. So I'm going to put it down and just speak from the heart. I've been living in my community for over 50 years. I take pride, and I'm not just pride, but I feel honored to help. And this is why I was asked to join Community Board 9. So in joining the Community Board 9, I have put in play that I'm a city employee. I've been a chair for District Council 37. I have I have also sat or sit, I should say, the 71st precinct. I don't know why I'm nervous. Okay. 71st Precinct Community Council to help the Safety Committee. I come to all of the meetings for the community board just to see how I can implement or to help what information I hold and what I have to assist these committees. May it be youth, safety, which is the 71st that comes in. May it be ULIT, housing. I'm very good in housing. We have an organization called WABA, which helps with the tenants. We have another organization called Crown Heads Community Council, which helps with the community. So what I have done is all of the work that I've put in through the years, I implement it and I do my best to see how I can help everyone in their committees. So this is why I attend all the committees to see how I can add to it, you know, what skills or what knowledge and what people that I know. Okay, so I will feel very humble and grateful. This is my second time, my third, if you should vote for me, which I hope you do. As I stated, I will be humbled and grateful to work for you, as I love to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Felice. Abigail Tim. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abigail Tim, and I'm running for second vice chair. I'm a mother of four, a daughter of a mother with dementia, but I still find the time to give back to my community. I've lived here my entire life. I am the fourth of 5 generations that reside or have resided in Community Board 9 within a 5-block radius. My children are still here. I have 2 children in college, 1 in elementary school, and my youngest is 4. We're all in the community. I went to PS 161, the Crown School, MS2. I went away to college, and then I came back to take care of my parents. My background is in accountancy, so I have my bachelor's and master's in accounting, so I pay attention to the details. I currently sit as the secretary of Major Owens Health and Wellness Community Center. I have advocated for our community to have more access to that building and for it to feel more like a community center than a private sector entity. I have advocated for my block. I'm also on the Block Association as a co-president, and I continue to do work for my community. I respectfully disagree. I'm not going to say that I may agree with everything that everyone has to say, but I'll respectfully voice my opinion because that's who I am. I also have an opinion, but my entire life I've been here. I've been here, I continue to live here. My family and I own our property. My other family members rent. I am a licensed real estate salesperson by trade. I have a nonprofit that raises money that advocates for children, youth soccer children, to travel the world and experience things that they wouldn't experience here in Central Brooklyn. This is my life. This is my life, and my life is of service. And if you think that I'm somebody who can advocate for you, I don't have any babies, but from 4 to 83, I have it all in my household. And I think because it's so personal, it's so close to me, that I'll continue to advocate for the individuals in my family, in my home, and my community. Thank you. Oh, vote for Abigail Tim. Thanks.
Thank you, Abigail. Dawn Walters Thompson.
This is the interpreter speaking, reading from text. So, can you hear me? And this is from Dawn. I'm a new member to the Brooklyn and Crown Heights community. I've worked in the community for the last 3 years as the principal at St. Francis de Sales School for the Deaf. I serve on the Youth and Education Committee as advocacy for youth is close to my heart. I've been in education in a variety of roles for over 20 years, and I look forward to listening, learning, and serving on the community.
Thank you. Sorry. We will now move on to first vice chairperson. Kashid Abdul, Mustakabir, Isaiah Piku. Is Kashid here? Hi, Kashid. Come on. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I put my motion on the floor now? We're good? Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm trying. Okay, so my name is Kershid. I've been in this community for over 25 years. My son graduated from this school as a middle school student about 6 years ago. Small business owner. I've also worked in education for almost 25 years. Why do I think I'm the person for first vice chairman? It's because I observe and I see things that are happening with committees. For example, what seems to be going on quite a lot with the Public Safety Committee, where they're making recommendations, but then different things are coming to the full board and they're getting hustled through. We saw that happen last month. Seems like it's happening again tonight. And as a member of the Transportation Committee, we had the same situation earlier this year where the Brooklyn Avenue project, we had hundreds of members of the community who came in who were opposed to it. We fought hard. We recommended writing a letter to the DOT saying that we did not want the project. Somehow, when that went to the executive committee, the letter was shut down. It was never sent out. We were never told as a transportation committee as why the letter didn't go out. And then at the general board meeting, after the first one, well, that didn't work. They didn't have their votes in line. But the second time, they reattached amendments and they sent the project through in its original form, which we never wanted. And it was hustled through so fast that I didn't even know what was going on. They put it through so fast that night. And how does that make you feel? It makes you feel devalued, right? We're all here volunteering our time. We have families, we have things to do. We're volunteering hours of our life in these committees to do certain work. And when that work is ignored and it's brought to the full board and it's hustled through, that doesn't make us feel like we have any reason to be here. So there has to be a voice in those rooms, in the executive committee and in the full board, that is going to speak up when these things happen. And I've been that person. I've spoken up. I've been a loudmouth all year about certain things. Maybe need to be a bit louder. But with me, you know you're going to get that person that will respect the committees and will make sure that the recommendations do stand up in full board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Isaiah Pickle.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Isaiah Peku. A little bit about myself. I am an active member of the oldest, boldest, and baddest civil rights organization in the history of this country, the NAACP. I am actively involved in our community cleanup groups as a leader of Community Cleanup PLG, and professionally, I serve as a legislative assistant in the State Assembly. Since I joined the board in May, I have deeply engrossed myself in its operations. I'm sure many of you have seen me at your committee meetings. I attend so often that I might as well join the committees, but I don't want to put too much on my plate, and I think you all are doing it tremendously already. But as I've attended the committee meetings and the general board meetings, I have seen a lot of things that I think hinder the full potential of this board. I've seen that our meetings in both the committee meetings and the general meetings draw on for way too long, which discourages people from staying and participating. I've seen that resolutions produced by committees are very often, as has been said, changed at the general board meeting without the consent or proper consultation of certain committees, which breeds resentment. And I've also seen that there is a serious attendance problem on the board, where at many of our general meetings, there are almost 15 to 20 members who are not attending the meeting. We're regularly getting between 35 and 40 members of the board attending our meetings, and I think that is unacceptable. We are here to serve as volunteer representatives of our community. We are the lowest level of local government in the city of New York, and it is our duty to show up for our neighbors who are also our constituents. It is paramount that as we serve on this board, we take the steps necessary to make us more efficient and effective. So there are three things I want to focus on if you elect me as your first vice chair. The first thing I want to focus on is a review of our bylaws. There are sections of our bylaws that haven't been edited since Giuliani was mayor, and that is completely ridiculous. The second thing I want to do is work on our understanding of Robert's Rules of Order, which would help our meetings run more smoothly, and it would also help us properly advance motions before the board and in the committees. The final thing I want to focus on is supporting for new membership. I believe I am the youngest member of the board at 23 years old. And I have to say that when you join the board, there's not a lot of information that you get on how to be a board member and what you need to do. So I want to work with the district office and the next executive committee to create onboarding packets and trainings for new members so that they can jump right in when September comes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to chairperson. We have Lady Mochkin, Ethan Norville, and Joyce Williams. Lady?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Zlati Mechkin. My resume was in the package, so I'm not going to repeat anything from there. I just want to tell you why I'm running, why I think I would be a good choice for chair. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm also a longtime resident of CB9. I moved here in 1972. I got married here. I raised my children here. I'm raising some of my grandchildren here. I worked for the nonprofit Crown Heights Community Council for 5 years. In their office, I'm president in Utica. I worked for 3 years right here in the Community Board 9, and I was in the same office that Dante and me and Allison work. I'm sure my initials are on some paperwork unless they've been shredded. I'm a member of One Crown Heights. It's a group of Black and Jewish women who come together to build a stronger community through dialogue and understanding. And the meetings have taught me that we have a lot more in common than we have differences. I'm a lifelong Democrat, raised by a father who believed that government should serve those who need it most. My life experience have shaped the issues that I care about. Through my daughter's divorce, I came to see the strengths and the shortcomings of family court. After losing a daughter to colon cancer, I came to understand the importance of quality health care and continued investment in cancer research. I understand the housing challenges facing our community. My son is a teacher, and he cannot afford to buy a home here in Crown Heights. I support safer streets. I was hit by a bicycle that was riding on the sidewalk. I ended up with stitches. I learned firsthand how important safety is for everyone who uses our streets. I'm a good listener. As chair, I would listen to the board members, encourage meaningful discussion, and work to develop agendas and resolutions that lead to results. I would like to close with a short story. After the Crown Heights riots in 1991, Mayor Dinkins decided to visit Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, who was the leader of the Chabad Hasidic movement that centered at 770 Eastern Parkway, and I am a member of. He spoke to the rabbi about bringing peace to both sides. The rabbi gently replied, "We are not two sides. We are one side. We are one people living in one city, under one administration, and under one God." And those words still resonate today. At the end of the day, we all want the same things: meaningful work, loving families, affordable housing, and safe streets. I hope to bring a spirit of unity, respect, and cooperation to this board that everyone here should feel proud to say, "I am a resident of CB9.
Thank you. We will now have Ethan Norville.
Hey everyone, I'm Ethan. For those who don't know me, I've been the first vice chair of CB9 for the past couple of years now. And I also chair the transportation committee, and we handle things like transit, bike lanes, all those things. And first I want to thank Fred and everybody on this board for coming here and devoting your time to a lot of this, because it shows that a lot of us want to give to this community more than we take from it. And that's admirable, that's commendable, and I appreciate that. But despite all that, a lot of our challenges still remain the same. When we are talking with agencies, often they take long to respond. Simple problems that should be solved in probably weeks end up taking years. And that's not what we want, quite frankly. I want this board to be the front door to this district for agencies, for electeds, for people who want to come here and affect this neighborhood. I was born and raised in this area, and I have just as much a stake in it as everybody else here does, hopefully. And to do that, to become a board where we're respected, where agencies seek our feedback out and not just treat us as a checkbox after they've already made their decision, we're gonna have to improve. We're gonna have to improve our meetings. We're gonna have to finish our agendas in a more timely way. We're gonna have to essentially become more respectable. And that means having better operations, having more of our resolutions hold weight. And I've been doing a lot of that work already, like getting a timer so we can run our meetings in a more timely fashion, or getting relationships with our agencies like DOT so they can listen to our feedback and come and actually show up at our meetings and take our feedback into consideration. And the results have been real. We've had bike lanes paused and rethought. We've had our first raised crosswalk brought into the neighborhood, which is something that the community voted that they wanted the most. And if we want a board that gets listened to, we can make that choice today. And I'm happy to create that for everybody sitting on this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. Next, we will have Joyce Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joyce Williams. I am a visionary leader that has served on executive leadership from organizations such as big as nationwide as Goodwill, Food Bank for New York City, and as well as Major League Baseball serving Black and brown kids nationwide. My core values rest in laser focus, delivering results, and embracing change. Two things I've learned throughout my life and leadership journey is that recognizing an opportunity for improvement and having the courage to create improvement are two different things. Meaning, we can sit here and talk about problems all day long, but the people who are remembered as real leaders are those who step out and on courage and make things happen. I believe Community Board 9 is stepping into its new chapter, and the leader needs to be fearless and needs to understand when to say no and when to say yes. And understanding that change is inevitable. The most successful nonprofits, community boards, or organizations are the ones that understand that change is inevitable, right? And organizations that thrive in change are those who know how to navigate it and not fight against it. As we sit here, you can see that we're not short on ideas. As you can see, every month, people stand up and talk about what they want to do, what they think, how they think. They're so passionate. We're not short on passion, as you can see. And we're not short on what we want to see happen. But where we do fall short is the challenge to implement our thoughts and ideas. If elected chair, my focus will be on laser-focused delivery. I feel the same way about money that I feel about time. I ain't gonna waste my money, and I darn sure ain't gonna waste my time. And I've been saying that I wanna make sure that these meetings stay laser-focused and deliver the results that we talk about. I would love to create a junior board, right? Because if you look around, there are no youth in here. I believe the youngest person that can serve on the board is 16. If we say that we care about this community and this board, we need to have young people filling in these seats. I was going to say amen. I'm not even a preacher. And I'd love to see us start looking into some hybrid meetings, right? Because there's some people who are disabled that can't make it, that are prominent in this community, that have been in this community for very long. So it's time for us to become faster, smarter, and effective, and being on the cutting edge in whatever we do. Cheers to everyone that served before, but my last thing is, make the right choice, choose Joyce.
Thank you. Next, we will proceed to hand out the ballots, but before we do so, Francesca will give you some information on marking your ballot.
Good evening, everyone. And for those of you who will be voting, all our voters, I just need you to take note that any unsigned ballot will not be counted. Any unsigned ballot will not be counted. And also, if a ballot is filled out improperly and we are not able to read the intent of the voter, that ballot also will be discarded. So please pay close attention to how you are filling your ballot. If your ballot, when it gets to us, we will not turn it over to you because we don't know who it is. If it's not signed, it will be discarded. And if it's not filled out properly, it will also be discarded. Thank you.
We need order. We need order. Members can vote their consciences. So they can submit a ballot in any way they want, and that will be their intent. But to be very clear, again, to reiterate the rules, for a candidate to move forward and be elected, they need to have a majority vote of the votes cast. So please make sure you consider that as you vote as well. Again, to the point that the committee member made, make sure you sign your ballots, and please pay attention for the positions of chair, first chair, vice chair, second vice chair, executive secretary, treasurer. One name, please. One name. For the position of member at large, you can select up to 2 names. All right, up to 2 names. Be very clear, okay? All right, thank you very much. The nominations committee is going to distribute the ballots. We're going to give
Are we gonna call them?
no, you can distribute the ballots.
Okay, so we're gonna hand out, so all board members, can you raise your hand and keep them up, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Your board members, they are distributing the ballots at this time. Please make sure. As we are taking a moment to do that, I know we said that there are no reports. Dante, do you have any quick announcements you need to make?
Do we have something to put the ballots in there?
All right, just a couple of quick announcements. In partnership with Assemblymember Ferris of Front Forest, Councilmember Hudson, DSNY, and the Lower East Side Ecology Center will be holding a recycling event on July 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at St. Francis de Sales School for the Deaf in the back parking lot. We have some of the flyers over there. Please bring your recyclables. It has the do's and don'ts. Again, the Utica Avenue train station is expected to come back online in the fall. Prospect Park this month. If you live in the area, let us know. One of the main points about the shelter was the Shelter Community Advisory Board. I know that there's a lot happening with the shelter, but we still want to know how long it's going to take for us to be able to get placements if this happens to go through. So we're in the process of discussing that with DSS to figure out that timeline. Which board member did not receive a ballot? We counted the exact amount of board members who have signed in.
Are there any board members who did not receive a ballot?
Did everyone receive a ballot?
If you are a board member and you have a ballot, please bring it directly to the nominations committee.
Hold your ballots before you hand them in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Fold your ballot before you arrive to turn it in. Fold your ballot, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, you should have certainly know one more. Thank you. You have my back. Thank you. Do we have all the ballots? Okay. Over here. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have all the ballots now? Okay. Thank you. Hold your ballot, please. Thank you. We're missing one more ballot. You have.
Are there any members who still have a ballot? You need to submit it now.
Okay, we have one.
Bishop Hampton.
Yeah.
All right, so once all the ballots are in per the motion, we are going to bypass the reports and we're going to go into the voting session.
We ask that all members hang around until we have finished counting the ballots. We would appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so the committee. All right, so listen. So we're gonna continue the order. We're gonna continue the agenda. So once all the ballots are counted, the nominations committee will let us know when there's a result. If there is a need for a runoff. If there is a need for a runoff, we will begin that immediately after we've established who the winners are, who's been elected. All right, at this time, we are now going to move on to the voting sections. Item A is from ULURP, the Land Use Committee, regarding the zoning framework, those updates. That was presented earlier during the public session. It was also presented last month as well. So it is on the floor at this time for consideration. At this time, it is on the floor. We are going to have discussion debate. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on the motion or has questions with regards to the framework? I'm going to take a speaker list. Yeah, no, this is land use zoning framework. Okay. We are now considering item A, the ULURP Land Use Zoning Committee framework. It was presented last month. The chair presented during the business session as well. It was also distributed in everyone's packets. So it is on the floor for discussion at this time. Is there anyone who has any questions or wishes to speak and debate on the matter? We're going to take a speaker list. All right, Ms. Hartley, I see you. Anyone else wish to speak on the motion? Call for a second time. Anyone wishes to speak on the motion? Floor is closed. Ms. Hartley, you have the floor. Hold on, please come. Oh, they'll bring you the mic. They'll bring you the mic.
So this should be quick.
Really what my question is that, as Ms. Boyd had mentioned, and I think this is something that is common knowledge, is that when we are looking and asking for these reports to take place, these are great, but what are the actionable components that take place after that? What do we plan on doing actionary? How are we asking these agencies, and it's a diverse amount of agencies in regards to it. This is not only just DSS or DHS, it's also DOB, et cetera. What is the, at general, we have this data, we have these reports, we have these things. What then is actionary, and or what is the full purpose that the board hopes to get from that?
Very quickly, and then I'll let the chair speak as well. What's good about the point when we develop these frameworks, they kind of establish the principles the board is operating by. So I think it's good. The public knows, so it's not a surprise if we voted a certain way. It's because we're voting according to certain principles we voted on. To your point, I think it is important that we also carry these votes and these frameworks with us to whatever conversations we're going. It's probably going to be important for our next steps in terms of being able to say we're calling the agencies, the respective agencies, and saying these are what we're considering. So if we're speaking to DOT, if we're speaking to DOB, all these agencies, it's important for us to take that next step as well to make sure that they understand, despite, whatever they're planning, we are looking at it with an eye of these principles that we wish to see applied in our district. Because this is what we believe is fair, and these are how we want to carry the conversation. So in some instances it happens, but we can definitely do better, and I expect that as a board, we're going to carry it to that next level. Suki, did you want to say anything in regards?
I would characterize it in two ways. The first is it's our calling card to elected officials when we do need to make changes at a level beyond this board, whether it's at the state level or the city level. The second way is that many laws and frameworks say that they would look at a community's adopted land use or economic development or other frameworks. And so although the zoning framework isn't quite as official as something like a 197A plan, it's a start. It's something that we can hand to these city agencies and say, this has been on our website for a long time, something that the board has passed, and we want you to take it seriously. And we want you to, in fact, it was put into our district needs statement at the beginning of this year, and that is something that the city looks at.
Okay, thank you. All right. Round one. Are there any other questions? Any other questions, debate? Final call. Seeing none, we're going to call the question. So before the board, we have the updates to the zoning framework. We've had questions and debates. At this time, we're not going to do a roll call. We already have the roll call. At this time, all those in favor of the updates to the zoning framework as presented, please say aye. Thank you. All those who wish to oppose, please state your name for the record. Okay, Mr. Davidson. Anyone else wish to oppose, please state your name for the record. I see no others in opposition. Anyone wish to abstain, please state your name for the record. Call for a second time. Anyone wishing to abstain, please state your name for the record. Madam Secretary, please. No abstentions. Hearing one no abstentions, majority vote, the motion carries. The updates will be made to the zoning framework and posted and delivered to the appropriate entities of necessary. Thank you very much. We're going to now move on to item B, the Transportation Committee Bus Redesign Framework. The framework was presented at the May General Board meeting. It was also presented this evening at the during the public session. The text of the framework has been distributed to the board members. At this time, we will take questions. The motion of the framework is on the floor for consideration. We will take questions. I'll pray to speakers. Anyone wish to ask any questions or have any comments with regards to the framework? You start? Okay. I call for a second time. Anyone wish? Suki, I see you. Hold on for the speakers list. Anyone else have any questions or have any comments regarding to the framework? Seeing none, floor is closed. Suki, you have the floor.
I
actually really like this framework, and I want to thank you and the rest of the transportation committee for doing it. The one thing I had a question about, the item that's talking about enhanced service on nights and weekends. I guess maybe I would want to amend it to say on routes which are otherwise transit deserts, because I think we've all seen the situation where certain routes, late nights, the buses just roll by, bus after bus, and they're empty. And that's a tough thing, I think, for the MTA. We have budget limits. But if it's a route where there's otherwise no transit, like certain east-west routes, then I get that you want to have some coverage at least, at night. So that would be my only suggestion / question.
Thanks.
Whether you had thought about that.
You wish to make that amendment? What's the amendment you wish to make again?
To add to the part about enhancing service on nights and weekends for routes which are otherwise transit deserts. Like the gentleman was saying that should be the focus. Well, for example, like there are certain east-west routes where we don't have a subway, right? There's no dollar van, there's nothing, right? So, like, I think it is important to have the night and weekend service.
Well, hold on. Before we continue the conversation, let's see if this is an amendment that's
okay.
All right. So we have the motion for an amendment. Is there anyone who wishes to second the amendment? Who wishes to second the amendment? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All right. Yes. I'm sorry. Could you give your name one more time for the record? Velez. Member Velez. All right. It's been moved and seconded. All right. So Suki, this is to amend it so that way it's enhanced service for those areas which are otherwise transit deserts. Okay. Do you wish to clarify anything else?
My intent is we're talking about like the east-west routes where there's no subway that runs.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I will take the speakers. Do you wish to respond? All right. Hold on. So, anyone else wish to speak on the amendment? Okay. At this time, we'll hear from the.
So, to answer this question, before I start answering the question, first off, I want to say I'm glad you liked the plan. We also heard the same thing from our MTA liaison. They told us in a discussion that it was the best thing they had seen a community board do regarding a bus redesign, and they wish more boards would do this. To answer that question a little more clearly, that amendment I could foresee kind of weakening this a lot because it hands off the decision of what's a transit desert to MTA, and we might end up getting a redesign that has less service than we like. For example, the B10 is one, but that's even debatable. There's the B12 nearby. It's not exactly a copy of the B10. It isn't that similar, but one could say that the B10 isn't really solving a transit desert, but it is a really vital route that this area could very much need. So I think the fact of that is that it would be handing off that definition likely to the agency that we're trying to kind of get in the room for and end up collaborating with more. So I think that kind of defeats a big chunk of this, and I'd rather that amendment be like not attached to it because I kind of want this to be specific.
Hold on. And I think that point's taken. I think what's being said is that should be a case that's brought back to the community anyway. Whereas if you say, yes, unless it's a transit desert, I think we've all had experience as a community where all of a sudden these become really, really large interpretations. All right, so we've had all the speakers on that. Well, actually, right, that can count as round one. Are there any additional comments? We'll do round two. I do see you, hold on. Any other, round two, anyone else wish to speak on it? Velez, I see you as well, Mr. Velez. All right, anyone else wish to speak on the motion? This is last call. Seeing none, floor is closed. So I'm sorry, I didn't get your name again. David Becker. Okay, we'll get you a mic. Give me 1 second. If you raise your hand, they'll bring a microphone to you.
Yeah, I actually just have a quick point of clarification. On item 3, it mentioned 8 bus routes currently served, 10 routes that would be served. Yeah, sorry. In item 3, I see it mentioning 8 bus routes currently served, 10 routes that would serve CB9. I don't see the B49 mentioned in there. I was wondering why and if that needs to be included. Yeah, that's it.
What was the response?
That was mistakenly left out, not on purpose. We can include that one.
Just a note, there were 3 bus lines stated. Yes, clerical, there was 40, the B49 should have been included as one of the routes on the thing, so just clerically, we're gonna add that 49. All right, Mr. Velez.
Hey, how's it going? I guess it's a clarifying question on total passenger, like total travel time, and essentially the request to evaluate total passenger time. Are there any existing evaluations or criteria of like ways to quantify total passenger time? That we're asking them to conduct specifically, or are we asking them to go create that sort of examination?
It isn't a separate examination. We're asking them when they make a bus redesign to incorporate considerations for full travel time. So just because buses move, let's say, 30% faster, if they have to wait for another bus, that doesn't really help their entire journey time. The waiting time has to be considered as well, including elements like transfer time and stuff like that, that go beyond just the speed of the individual bus, and we're proposing that they include those considerations to kind of minimize things like forcing people to transfer to a different mode of travel to finish their journey, because those things add up and they can make journeys longer as well. It's not just about the bus by itself. And I'm going to clarify one more thing regarding what Suki had said earlier. If we want to specify and kind of talk about enhancing like route times or like frequency, I think it would make sense if we do that and maybe have a target of, like bus cadence, for example, instead of just saying we'll, do it on routes that are not deserts, because I understand that we want to, avoid having many buses that might be unused pass down a street at one time. But we can always like sort of have an upper limit to that. So it's not, once every 30 seconds. We could probably, of course, enhance frequency, but to a point.
Is that the last time? Okay. All right, so the amendment on the floor. I'm sorry, we're not able to take, it's only members of the public. Sorry, members of the board. I understand, man, but because we're in business session, it's only the board members right now. Sorry. Okay, all right, so that was the last comment. So right now, for consideration by the board, is the amendment. So this is the amendment we're voting to change the text to read enhanced service in areas that otherwise are service deserts or otherwise are not service deserts, right? Okay. All right. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Okay, all those who wish to oppose, please state your name for the record. Okay, here we go. Ethan Norville, in opposition. Dina Cox, in opposition. Rashid, I see you as well. Rashid. To you, Mr. Becker. Anyone else who wishes to? Okay, I see Davidson. I see Magnus. Who else wishes to vote no at this time? I see Mr. Boyce. Robertson. I'll put my name on that as well. This is for the amendment. Anyone else wish to vote no? For the noes, I have Norville, Cox. Rashid, I have Becker, Davidson, Magnus. Du Bois, Robertson, Baptiste. Anyone else wish to vote no? Mushkin. Yep. Anyone else wish to vote no? Last call. Thomas Serrano. All right. Anyone wish to abstain at this time? See Mr. Almanor. I see Watson Lord. I see Hartley. I see Cuckoo. Anyone else wish to abstain at this time? Last final call. Anyone who wishes to abstain? Hold on. One, two. How many noes? So how many noes? We hear 11 noes, 7 abstentions. Motion carries. The amendment carries. Majority vote of the board. Amendment carries. Okay, at this time, we are going to consider the framework as amended. We are going to go back to the speakers list. Actually, I think Suki was the last one. So at this time, we are now voting on the amended framework. All right, all those in favor of the amended framework, please say aye. Okay, all those who wish to vote no, please state your name for the record. See, Rashid is no. Is no. Opposition. Anyone else who wish to vote no? Okay, is there anyone who wishes to abstain on this vote? Please state your name for the record. We hear no abstentions. Hearing one vote in opposition, no abstentions, the motion carries. Framework adopted as amended. Thank you. All right, we are now going to go into the SLA applications. So let's do this one. Let's do this one first. We'll have a little conversation with the SLAs. I want to move to item D, district manager salary. We'll come back to the SLA applications after that. So at the executive board meeting, we went into executive session for personnel discussion with regards to the salary for the. At the executive committee meeting that we just had this month, we went into executive session to discuss personnel, specifically the district manager and salary. The district manager came on board with CB9 in 2020, correct? 2021. So we brought him in and we gave him a salary, I believe we started with 85,000. Yeah, 85,000 is what he came in with, the starting salary. Subsequently, through the city managerial contracts, there have been increases, so his salary has gone to 100,000. In analysis, he is underpaid with respect to his position amongst his peers. Additionally, there is a merit component that we have been far too long in terms of considering. So the executive committee voted to increase the salary to $120,000 per annum, and that is a recommendation before the board at this time. So it went before the executive. It is in front of the board at this time. I will take a speaker's list to discuss. Are there any questions? Mr. Paku, I see you. I'm sorry. Who else has questions? Who I see you? Anyone else have any questions? Ms. Moshkin, I see you. Ms. Moshkin, I see you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. At this time, we're going to debate. Isaiah?
I think this is long overdue. Dante has stewarded this community board very well, and I think this is well earned. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Moshkin?
Also in support of this, when I worked at Community Board 9 under Pearl Miles, anybody remembers Pearl? Pearl made over $110,000, and there was, she just voted herself whatever she wanted. So go Dante, yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, that's the end of that round. Is there any further discussion? It's in the budget. It is in the budget. The analysis has been done. It has been done before. There has always been a surplus. That surplus has been used for other things in the office. This time, the board is dedicating the surplus to his salary. With that being said, is there any objection to adopting this resolution by common consent? Hearing no objection, the motion passes. It'll be effective. You send a letter to the register as of the next fiscal year. Please on that.
Move it to 1:30.
Okay. All right. We are doing well, but we are going to continue this momentum. We are now going to go into the SLA applications. First application for consideration, pardon me, bring this up, is for Plush BK Hospitality, located 252 Empire Boulevard, corner of Rogers Avenue. This is for a full license. The recommendation was for CB9 to set a letter of no objection to the SLA with the hours that were stipulated earlier. 12 midnight on Mondays through Thursdays, 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, 1 a.m. on Sundays. Are there any questions with regards to the recommendation? Let's stay germane. We're on track. Are there any questions with regards to the recommendation, the motion? Hearing none, we are going to call the question. All those in favor of adopting the recommendation of the committee to recommend a letter of no objection, please say aye. Aye. Is there anyone who wishes to in opposition at this time? State your name. Madam Secretary, please note, no one voting in opposition. Anyone who wishes to abstain at this time, please state your name for the record. Hearing none, none in opposition, motion carries. The letter, the recommendation is approved and reported to SLA. Thank you. I want to go slightly out of order because I know that we've had a little bit of conversation. I know there's some amendments we want to do. So we're going to consider Petite Cafe first, and then we're going to come to Bean City. We're going to come to it. I know you're second on the list, but we're going to come right back. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to consider item C. Petite Cafe, doing business as Sweet Sundays Cafe, located at 1034 Nostrand Avenue on the corner of Sterling Street. This is for a new liquor, wine, beer, and cider. That was the recommendation of the committee to send a letter of no objection. Is there any questions or debate regarding this application? I call for a second time. Are there any questions with regards to this application? This is for the third one, just to be clear. The third one, Petite Cafe, Sweet Sundays. Okay? Any questions? All right, hearing none. Is there any objection to adopting this by common consent? Hearing no objection, Madam Secretary, please note for the record, the recommendation for a letter of no objection is adopted by common consent of the board. All right, we are now going to go to item. All right, we are now going to go back to item B. This is for Beanstable LLC, doing business as Wilkie. Wilkie, yes, thank you. All right. Establishment located 820 Franklin Avenue on the corner of Union Street. This is for a full license, liquor, wine, beer, and cider. So the recommendation of the board of the committee was CB9 to send a letter of no objection for the establishment for the full license with the stipulation for the applicants to close no later than midnight on midnight on Mondays through Thursdays, 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, 1 a.m. on Sundays. The applicant has noted that they wish to make a change with regards to the times. So that is the motion. Let's clean this up. You are making a motion to refer back to committee? There is a motion to refer, hold on. There is a motion to refer. Okay, we need order. 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 Ms. Order. We need order. Only board members at this time. Thank you. All right, the motion to refer is on the floor. At this time, we will open the floor for debate. Anyone who wishes to, Ms. Hartley, I see you. We'll allow the applicant an opportunity to speak. Hold on one second. All right, Ms. Hartley, anyone else wishes to speak on the motion? Ms. Cohen, as you are the maker, I'll let you speak. Hold on. Anyone else wish to speak? Ms. Wolseley, I see you as well. I'll make a comment. Okay, let me make this comment. All right, hold on one second, actually, before you begin. I do want to make a point, the point that's been brought up. The challenge, the issue is, the challenge before the board is that there is a limited time period for commentary by the board. Whereas if we table this to go back to a committee, we potentially miss the window for commentary. So that is the issue in terms of referring it back to committee because it doesn't get considered, and you may miss the window for the board to comment. That is the consideration. All right, let us take commentary. I have the speaker list. Ms. Cohen, if you wish. Yes. It was a motion to refer back to committee. Right. Okay. Ms. Cohen, go ahead. I have other speakers. You want to speak? I had you first. Well, listen, as you have the mic, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The battery is, okay, here we go. As I had mentioned before, the aspect of the SLA, when we sit in these meetings for 2 hours, in addition to going to these spaces, looking at these spaces, evaluating the neighborhood, many people do not sign up when they have gotten into these apartments above these establishments in regards to that. That's for that. Part two, this has never been mentioned before, and this is something that's very rarely mentioned when applicants come to us. These hours that they ask for are not a component in regards to anybody being a teeter-toddler or anything to that extent. We also know that these hours are not going to make or break your business. And that in regards to your business being a successful business, it's not just business hours, it's labor cost, it's food costs, it's your rent, it's your marketing plan, it's also your community engagement. And often the times that individuals, applicants that come in, they very rarely speak about anything else. They think that we are tied to just business hours. You're not tied to business hours. I wanted to open up a restaurant in this neighborhood. I passed on it. I come from I've worked in 5 restaurants, 3 nightclubs, and 1 in Miami. So you're not speaking to someone who does not know what the industry does. And what we're key calling out is that, listen, I would rather set up the parameters now than waste the resources of residents calling 311 or escalating it to 911 later on. There is a business that's on Empire between Kingston and Brooklyn. They don't take care of their garbage. We've been fighting about it for 3 or 4 years. We bring it here to the community board. Nothing can be done now. The business is doing as it please. And that's why we like to be the first line of defense to create some boundaries in the beginning. No one's saying we don't want the business to be successful, but the aspect of you being profitable does not sit within whether or not certain business hours. But I can guarantee you that listening to someone drunk on the phone at midnight and listening to it at 4 a.m. is a big difference when you have to hear it coming up from your window. I don't live on a block that has these type of businesses. So I'm not speaking from a bias. I'm speaking as I stand here in regards to the community board. And if we are not going to listen to the SLA committee, then next year in September, we need to find out if we even need the SLA committee, because you need to stop wasting our time. And that is exactly what is going on. You're wasting our time. We need to start having businesses that are saying, we want to actually work within the community. Because if you come here and tell me, oh, by the way, when you sat up there last Thursday, I told you what you needed to tell me. And then now you're telling me I'm going to do my own thing. And that has been the precursor, and that's what we've been dealing with. And I'm tired of dealing with it. And I know the committee is tired of dealing with it. So stop wasting our time. Because I go to bars, I go to restaurants. So you're not talking to a cheap chick. I love that these things are here. But at the same time, we have to also be cognizant of our residents and our neighbors. That's the only reason why SLA is here. Only.
Next speaker is going to be Ms. Cohen. Next speaker is Ms. Cohen.
She actually really spoke out of my mouth. That's the real honest truth. But if we cannot make a motion to bring it back to the committee, I'm asking the board not to pass this license because it's a precedent. That they were kind enough to be truthful about, but they didn't care what we had to say. They were going to come to the board because the board was going to vote against us because they were here last time when the board voted against us. So they were very confident they didn't need us at all. So we are asking you, value us. We go to visit these places. We sit in the communities. We do so much due diligence. We really spend our time. I live here. I don't want to see one empty storefront. I love this community. I live here forever. But I also love the people that live here. We're all living here. And we have to also take that and make it balance and make it make sense. And I'm begging you, think about everyone that lives next to you, the older people, the younger people, every single one, and vote, please, with your conscience.
Yep. Next speaker is Walter. Use the mic, please.
Okay, I don't really have anything to add to what they said. Hello?
That was better.
What about now? What about now? Can everyone hear me? Okay, so my name is Lorianne Woolsey, and I am also on the committee, and I don't have anything to add to what they already said, but we take a lot of time when we consider these businesses that come before us. And I feel the same way. Please listen to us and consider what we say when we put something before the board. That's it.
Next on the list is Fred Baptiste.
All right, the first vice chair is, as I'm commenting, the first vice chair is going to control the vote for this one. The only thing one recommendation is, it's a moot point, so this amendment needs to, or this vote needs to actually go no, because it's a moot point. Because if we vote to move to September, the board loses its vote. We should go back to the original vote, and we should vote on that considering everything that's been discussed. And let me leave it there, just let's dispose of this, and then we'll speak on the motion, the recommendation that is on the floor.
Do you have any other comments or questions? The motion on the floor right now is to refer this back to committee. It's still being voted on. We need to vote on this and dispense this one first. Okay, that's what. Okay, so we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor of referring this back to committee, please say aye. So we're going to continue with our vote. All those in favor of referring back to committee, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. Okay, that's a pretty clear vote. That carries.
All right. The motion fails. We are back to the original recommendation. So at this time, the recommendation from the committee was for the hours that were previously stated. This time, I will give the applicant an opportunity to have last words to say that you want to say. We will give you a minute, and then the vote of the board. If you want to debate, we can do that, but then we're going to vote. Come.
I just wanted to clarify a couple of points were brought up by the committee members. There was no point at which we were disingenuous. We said we don't actually agree with this proposal. We said, is there a process? Can we then present at the full board meeting? And we were told emphatically, yes, you can. Thank you. Thank you, Fred. There was no point at which we said we were switching anything up or doing anything weird or crazy or wild. In fact, the proposal we first put forward was 2 a.m., 4 a.m. weekends. We amended that proposal to be more amenable one, 2 a.m. across the board. So the whole thing we're asking for is just consideration for that. I don't want it to be misconstrued that we saw something. I was at the April board meeting. I told the entire board, I said, that seemed like a really tough thing. It seemed like your SLA committee, your public safety committee, had a hard time because it felt like they were totally, all the recommendations thrown out. I don't think having recommendations and then having someone speak on their behalf, you can consider both. That just feels like a normal thing. Beyond that, just a reminder, we live here too. We're trying to run a bar, restaurant in our neighborhood. We're excited about it. We hope you're excited about it. Regardless of how you vote, we hope you come in, get a bite, get a drink. We'd love to see you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, is there any other debate on, okay, so we're back to the original motion, the recommendation. Is there any other debate? Oh.
We're voting on the committee's original recommendation
Correct.
for closing time.
Correct.
And we are sending a letter of no objection given the stipulated closing time.
If they agree to the stipulations, we're fine. If not, We're not in favor.
But if the applicant does not agree to the stipulated closing times, what happens if the SLA?
We are on record with the SLA that we are,
That it is
we're
not an
okay with it
objection?
only to these conditions.
Okay.
Okay? If the board votes, if we stand on this recommendation, the letter is going to go to SLA saying, we're okay with it if it's these stipulated hours. Right. This is our recommendation. This is the recommendation. Okay? All right. I just want to say something, one very quick thing, and Ethan, you'll take the vote. Let me just say one very quick thing, and then I'll pass it to the first vice chair for the vote. Primarily, again, it goes back to the conversation. We want to be consistent. We just voted tonight on a very similar application where they agreed to this. We want to make sure. Understood? Yeah. Understood. No. And here's the thing, and I want to be very clear, and I want to say this regarding the applicant. They were very forthright regarding what their intent was. So I want to be very clear. They weren't trying to be sneaky about it. They can ask for what they want to ask for. If they disagree with it, that is their right. They came, they said it, and they can go to SLA if they wish to do that, and they can say that. As a board, though, we need to be consistent because the problem is when we start being inconsistent, people don't look at us as advisory. They look at it as we pick and choose where we want to stand to be principled. So we've already been consistent with the 2 a.m. time. We did it this evening, and we've been consistent with other applicants. So at this point, we need to move forward. All right. Okay. All right. As we've already had conversation on this is the motion on the floor.
The board decides that there's too much confusion on this whole thing and they're just voting no, then we send that we voted no. Is that correct?
If we vote no, then there's no recommendation that goes. But be careful with that because if you vote no recommendation, that means you lose yourself. So that's the only thing I want to say is if you vote no, you don't want any recommendation. You lose your voice.
Well, what do you mean we vote no for other people? We sent out other ones that we voted.
You can vote no that you don't want to do anything or you don't want them to have a reason. You don't want them to have an application.
Yes.
But SLA is going to look at that. Why did you vote no? And that's what becomes a matter of the credibility of the board is what I want everyone to consider. All right. So at this time, it's Max. Go ahead. Yes, the hours that were recommended by the committee for the board to consider. Yes, and it's in, well, just because there's a couple of typos. 12 midnight, applicant to close no later than 12 midnight on Mondays through Thursdays. 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and on Sundays, 1 a.m. That was the recommendation of the committee. Okay? All right. We are going to call the question at this time. All those in favor of adopting the recommendation of the committee, please say aye. All those who wish to oppose, please state your name for the record. Madam Secretary, please note none in opposition. Anyone who wishes to abstain, please state your name for the record. Poll for final time. Anyone who wishes to abstain? Okay. Please note Ms. Cohen as an abstention. Ms. Moshkin. Okay. One abstention. Motion carries. The recommendation will be to SLA. No objection if you stipulate to those hours. You'll be that's what's going to be the recommendation of the board. You will have an opportunity to speak with SLA if you have questions. All right. At this time, we are going to now call the nominations committee up to announce the results.
Okay. So we will start with member at large.
Hold on 1 second. Just one quick announcement. SLA applicants, you are more than welcome to stay with us as we go through this, but if you wish to leave, we won't hold it against you. Matter of fact, we wish we were you. Well, thank you very much for coming this evening. All right, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we will start with member at large. Nicholas Almonar has 29 votes. Solange Benjamin has 8 votes. and Letwin Movema, 23 votes. So that, the two members at large would be Nicholas Almono and Letwin Movema. Letwin Movema. Next, we will go to treasurer with 36 votes. Mena Legute, she's not here tonight. 36. We will move on to executive secretary, Linda Watson Lord, with 37 votes. We will now move on to second vice chair, Kendall Christensen with 7 votes. Felice Robertson with 22 votes. Abigail Thim with 6 votes. Dawn Welters Dumpson with 2 votes. Felice Robertson. Yes. Yeah. Next, we will move on to first vice chairperson. Isaiah Piku with 28 votes. Rashid Abdul Mutabakir, 8 votes. 8 votes. Next, we will have chairperson. Ethan Norville, 26 votes. Joyce Williams, 2 votes. And Zlati Muchkin, 9 votes. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you. I will now turn the mic over to Dante. Thank you.
Congratulations to our new executive committee. From the board staff, we look forward to working with you. As you know, tomorrow is Juneteenth, so please give us a couple of days to enjoy ourselves. We will update the website and all of our literature to reflect the new executive committee. So at this time, we have a little bit of time left. I just want to take this opportunity to thank our current chair of our board, Fred Baptiste. Before I turn it over to Fred, I just want to take the opportunity. So we've been working behind the scenes with our elected officials to honor Fred. And so over here on the table, I'm not going to read off the proclamations, but I will say who they came from. So one proclamation is from the Honorable Yvette D. Clarke. One from our state senator, Zelnor Myrie. You have 3 from our assembly members, Brian Cunningham, Monique Chandler Waterman, who wished she could have presented it directly to you this evening, and of course from Assembly Member Ferris Forrest. So with that, I just want to take this opportunity. When I got this job, a lot of you might not know this, but Fred did not vote for me to get this job. It's all right though. Over the past 5 years that I've been here, I've been able to work with Fred in many different capacities. We've been through a lot of different things have affected this district. And I'll be honest, there is one person that I can call almost at any time who will pick up their phone and answer the call. And as a DM of a board, that's fruitful because not all chairs have great relationships with their district managers. And so I just briefly wanted to thank Fred for his leadership not only of the board, but also leading our board office. Your maturity, your experience, and just everything that you know in city government has really reflected on us. And we know that you have put us in a space to be able to lead the next executive committee moving forward. So Fred, thank you for your leadership to Community Board 9, and I'm sure that you'll still be around serving for many years to come.
We are doing so well. I'm not going to spoil the mood by going for a long time with this. All I have to say is I am humble. Not too many people are here long enough. Bishop Gonzalez was here long enough. She remembers before I became chair. And it was a process where, as a board, we had to, this board, she was there too. The board had to grow, I had to grow. And it's been a journey, and all I have to say is that, this has been an honor and a privilege. There were dark days. That's coming from one of my first second vice chairs. So she's been a part of that journey as well. No way I could have done anything by myself. It's only because I had a number of people who believed, who bought in that CB9 could be better and that we could really do so much more for this district. And I stand here. It was an easier decision because I probably thought about it years before and I said it wasn't the time. It wasn't the time. Now's the time. And I can do this confident that we are going to remain the best board in Brooklyn, the best board in the city, because we have the best members, the best board members, the best executive team, the best district office. I'm just always awed by the talent and the energy and the passion. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to serve. Thank you for working with me. Thank you for tolerating me for all those times as well, and continuing to run. I'm still here. I was reappointed to the board. I'll be back in the seats, but I just want everyone to know I am standing here in full support of this new team, a team that I am so confident in, and we have a team. Thank you so much. 17 seconds left? I'll give you 17 seconds back. Here we go. Are we done? So at this time, time is now 9:37. We stand adjourned.